What's going on, guys? It's Archery. Welcome back to my channel. I'm back with a brand new Draft League video. I'm joining the GLDL this season, the Great Leagues Draft League, hosted by Wakeman. Thank you for letting me in as a replacement coach. This league is a couple weeks into the season already. I believe we're on week 4 right now, and I actually have a brand new team. Not this team, actually another brand new team, filled with Pokemon that I picked up from the free agent wire. And I'm excited to use that team, but also I'm excited to use this team because I had not used a lot of these Pokemon in draft before. So I figured I would have a little bit of fun this week, try something I haven't really tried before. I mean, that's all the draft league is, right? Trying to get as much experience as possible. But regardless, this week we're going up against Rainbow Boy, coach of the Snowpoint Sylveons. He's got a really sick team. He's got Moltres, Lapras, which you can access its Gigantamax form as well. Entei, Gothitelle, Tangela, Togedemaru, Glaceon, Ribombee, Flygon, Cherim, and Throh. His team has a lot of threats, specifically in his top 3 right there. Moltres, Lapras, and Entei are all extreme, huge threats. And then he's got a lot of support like Ribombee, Gothitelle, Togedemaru, Tangela for redirection. He's got a lot of really cool options. But yeah, this is the team I have this week. I'm taking over for Fifth Leaf, I believe. He had other stuff going on. So I'm replacing him, and this was his team. Like I said, I'm adding a completely different team next week. But since he didn't play his week 4 match, I had to use his team out of fairness for my opponent. So my team is Heatran, Dusclops, Primarina, Virizion, Jolteon, Drampa, Dugtrio, Xatu, Purloin, Skuntank, and Galarian Stunfisk. I actually really like this team, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe both of these teams were ranked relatively high in the PR rankings. I wasn't really familiar with the PRs going into this. I kind of went in blind a little bit. But you know, I'm really excited for this league. There's a lot of friends I have in this league. A lot of them from the MDL. Just a quick shout out: Dan, Ryan, Toxic Burst, just to name a few. You know, and they're all competing and they're all doing pretty good as far as I'm concerned. And you know, they're taking their experience from the MDL and using it in a different league, which I think is cool. And I went in with a lot of familiar faces in there. So yeah, I just wanted to say a quick thank you again to Wakeman for letting me in, and good luck to every competitor in the Huron division, which I am in. And yeah, let's just get right into the breakdown a little bit or the pregame breakdown, I should say. So going into this match, I thought that Trick Room had a great matchup versus him. A lot of the threats that he wants to use, maybe Moltres, Ribombee, Flygon, Entei, they're all capable of maxing, and besides the Lapras, all of the major max threats are great outside of Trick Room. Problem is, they struggle against Trick Room, aside from Lapras, obviously, but the Trick Room mons I have outspeed Lapras under Trick Room, and I don't really think he was expecting it. So I'm bringing Dusclops, Drampa, Primarina, Heatran, Virizion, Jolteon, my top 6. Running a supportive Jolteon set with Light Screen and Yawn to try and stall out his max a little bit. And also the Drampa set I'm running is actually weakness policy, and I'll explain what it is in a second. But yeah, I'm bringing Goggles, Primarina for the Tangela, which I actually expected to come. You'll see in a minute that I actually didn't. So it's actually unfortunate that I kind of have a wasted item, I think, on Primarina, but it's all good. Standard Heatran set, standard Koba Berry Virizion set, weakness policy Drampa, with Brick Break Dusclops. Now the deal is, I think that this is really convenient for me because he's got Gmax Lapras, and I have a Pokemon that is weak to fighting. So I figured that breaking screens plus proccing a weakness policy is a great versatility option, I would say. Especially versus him, I think Drampa kind of goes in. Just 4 attacks. I think I have Draco Meteor, Ice Beam, Energy Ball, Max, or Fire Blast or Flamethrower. So yeah, the combination of those 4 attacks go on everything on his team. Hits everything mostly for super effective. If not, then it's gonna be doing a lot of damage. Otherwise, that's kind of the plan going in. Kind of getting Trick Room up. I Light Screen on Jolteon, so in case he maxes the Moltres, I guarantee live. Like a Max Darkness or like a Max Resonance from the Lapras, or whatever he may be going for. I'm not really sure. I did look at his previous pace, since all the pace are posted weekly in this league. So I actually have access to all of his paste that he's had, and I went in thinking that he was going to bring the weakness policy Lapras because he likes bringing that. So I was kind of expecting it. I was also expecting like a really offensive Moltres, whether Nasty Plot Life Orb or I don't know, maybe like a Yachi Berry or maybe a Wakan Berry because I have stuff like Primarina, or maybe like a Roselli Berry. I wasn't really sure he was bringing on the Moltres, but I knew that Lapras, Moltres, and Togedemaru were coming because he loses to Jolteon if he doesn't bring it. So those are the three I was expecting. As of everything else, I have no idea how this guy plays. From what I hear, he's a good battler, though. I think he's at the top of Huron at the moment. So, you know, I wasn't really knowing what to expect, but going into this match, the weakness policy Drampa under Trick Room with either Primarina or Heatran kind of had a great matchup. So let's just get right into the game. Alright, let's get into team preview. So we have Lapras, Togedemaru, Entei, Flygon, Ribombee, Moltres against what I have. I thought the Dusclops lead with Jolteon was really solid. The only debate I was having here was whether I wanted Primarina or Heatran in the back. I thought Primarina had a very good matchup versus him, especially what he brought. So I hit 4 out of the 6 are super effective with Primarina, so I go with that. And let's just get right into the game. So I lead the Dusclops Jolteon, trying to get Trick Room up for the Drampa to sweep. So that's kind of the goal here. The good news about Dusclops is I get to see what its sets are. So I see the Life Orb and I see the eject button. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, so the play I think he's going for is the Max Darkness Switcheroo eject button into Dusclops, double targeting it down. The issue with that is I can switch into Primarina and take a huge chunk on my Primarina, but that hurts my late game. So I figured, what the hell, let's risk it. I don't know exactly what he's going for. I've never played against him before. So I'm just going to Trick Room Light Screen. And he actually switches out the Ribombee into Flygon. So I get the light screen off, and he goes for the Fire Wrath here. Does not a lot of damage because of the light screen, thank God. And he gets the flinch. So immediately I'm already pissed because now he's going to get a lot of unnecessary damage on my Dusclops, which comes into huge for him late game. You'll see why in a second. So the way he brought in Flygon, I thought he was going to max it this turn, considering he didn't max a Moltres turn 1. So I thought he was going to max it, so I yawned it. And turns out he didn't. But the yawn is still nice on Flygon regardless. So as you can see, I'm taking an extra maybe 60 to 75% on my Dusclops for no reason. It's really unfortunate, I think. But you know, it doesn't really matter. I got Trick Room up. I think I'm in a decent spot right now. So I come in with Drampa, and I know for sure I get my weakness policy proc, because there's no redirection, he can't flinch me. And I outspeed him under Trick Room, so I thought the play he was going to make was max guarding the Moltres here. And I thought the Hailstorm into Flygon was free. So I think in hindsight, maybe I should have just gone for Helping Hand Hailstorm. Maybe to try and preserve my light screen, but I think the weakness policy comes in clutch for me later in the game. You'll see what I'm talking about. So I get rid of my own light screen, which is okay. I get the weakness policy off, which is really good on paper for me. So I get the Hailstorm off into Flygon, 100% KOs. I see no Yachi Berry, so I'm assuming it's either Choiced or AV. I don't really know which one it is. Maybe AV. I think AV's fine with me. But he KOs my Dusclops, which is really big. I no longer have Helping Hand support, and I no longer can break through anything Sash. So if he has Togedemaru in the back, I can't break through with Sash. And it's forced to get a Nuzzle off on something, so it's pretty big. Plus the Nightshade damage, the residual is really nice, and the Helping Hand's just great against Moltres. So I realized he brought in Ribombee when Trick Room was still up, so I'm thinking to myself, okay, he's got something in the back that he wants to max. I think he lets Moltres go down here, or he maxes it. Regardless, I think that KOing the Ribombee and letting him max a Moltres and getting a Moonblast off on it is great for me, because I got one more turn of Trick Room, or 2 more turns of Trick Room, I think, and I have 1 more turn of max. So if he max guards some Moltres here and I don't get an attack off, I can next turn and just KO it. So he doesn't actually do that, and he sacks off both Mons. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, so I'm in a really good spot here. What does he have in the back? I said if it's Entei, I win. If it's Lapras, I think I lose. So I'm waiting to see, and he brings in Lapras. So I'm like, okay. So I knew he was going to either protect or max guard here. And I'm just at this point I'm just praying he doesn't have it. Because I KO both of these. I think the max overgrowth just KOs in general. Not through screens though. So if he max guards, I think he's got me. Because outside of Trick Room and Lapras max versus my 2 mons, it just wins. I think it beats my Pre-Marina if it gets screens up. So I think when I see the max guard, I pretty much know I lose. I don't have Protect on this Drampa. I think it could have been useful. But the end game, I don't think the end game really changes that much if I have Protect on Drampa. I think I make a misplay this next turn, I think. So the Energy Ball is doing a lot. Procs the weakness policy. I think Resonance kills Drampa regardless of its weakness policy or not. But that's good information going into the next few games. So, you know, he KOs my Drampa here, and he's at like maybe 25% right now. So there's a big issue here, I think. What I should have done here is, I know that I actually miscounted his max turns, and I almost clicked protect there, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I should totally protect here and install it as max. Yeah, I didn't do that. I clicked energy ball, and as you can see, he max quakes and does a lot of damage to my Pre-Marina, which I could have totally avoided. And I also know he's physical now because of the quake. He doesn't get a special ground move. So in hindsight, if I would have protected there, as you can see how much damage that was doing to max Lapras, that's double the health bar. I would have KO'd him with energy ball this turn, considering I would live the drill run. So I would have won if I would have protected, but instead I got a lot of damage on my Pre-Marina. And I know going into game 2, I know not to make that same mistake again, just to try and stall out max. Alright, going into game 2. So, I leave the same thing, and I think I bring the same 4, because I know what I did wrong this game, and I know I win in the end game if I play it right. And I know that he's going to try and stall out my max and try and get his max up. I know this is what he's going to try and do again. So I figured that if I can get Trick Room up without getting flinched, like in game 1, I have a really good shot at winning. Because I wouldn't take the damage on Dusclops. And I don't think there's an adjustment that he can make besides maybe max Entei that would stop what I'm trying to do. I almost ran Charm over Light Screen on Jolteon, but I ended up going with Light Screen. So he's got this lead. So this is exactly what he did turn 2. And the whole point of Jolteon here is to get Light Screen up and potentially die. So this is actually really great for me if he goes for Fire Wrath Earthquake, because I get Trick Room up as long as I don't get flinched, and I get Light Screen up, which is incredible for me. And this is exactly the position I wanted to be in game 1. So he goes for the EQ. I live on 2. I'm actually Focus Sash on Jolteon, so I would have been brought down to Sash. So he goes for the Fire Wrath and Dusclops. Now I'm at 50%, and I'm crossing my fingers I get Trick Room up, and I do. So thank God I got Trick Room up, you know what I mean? So I'm thinking to myself, what do I go in here? Do I go into Pre-Marina and max it, or Drampa? And I'm thinking to myself, you know what, fuck it. I'm going Drampa, because I know I would have won last game if I would have played better. So I'm just going for it. So I honestly don't really know what he's going to do here. I think he's going to switch out to Flygon, and going into something like Lapras or Entei. So I targeted down with the Wormwind to cover the switch. And he actually goes into Lapras. So now I get rid of Lapras, and I am actually ecstatic right now. As long as he doesn't max Moltres, I am ecstatic, because I know that now I can beat him late game as long as I KO Lapras in the next 2 mons next turn. I know I can beat him because I got Pre-Marina in the back. And his mons can't contest Drampa while it's under Trick Room. So I go for the Wormwind into the Flygon slot to cover the switch and actually KOs Lapras. So I'm really, really happy right now. The only issue with this is he's getting the Fiery Wrath off on my Dusclops, which is really unfortunate, I think. And I think what I should have done this turn, or last turn, was Hailstorm into the Moltres. Considering that I could have beaten it, I could have beaten the Lapras under Trick Room. I think I could have been in a better spot. But at the same time, I figured he's either gonna max guard Moltres or protect it, and I think after Life Orb chip, I KO the Moltres after protect with it. So what I do here is I predict the protect from Moltres, and I double into the Togedemaru. And he's running Spiky Shield, right? So Dusclops actually goes down because I Brick Breaked into it. So then I go for the Flare into the Togedemaru, and I do about 75, which is great chip. The only issue is what he can do here is he can switch out the Moltres into whatever he has in the back, sack it off, and then get Moltres in after my Drampa's max is done, since I'm on my last turn of max. So what I do here is I Hydro Pump the Togedemaru, and I believe I Hailstorm into the Moltres. I know he's got Flygon in the back, and I know there's no way he's switching Togedemaru into Flygon here. So yeah, he switches out the Moltres into Flygon. So Flygon's dead, and as long as I hit the Hydro Pump, Togedemaru's dead. So I'm automatically like pretty scared because this is the exact same end game that he had last game, which is pretty bad for me. Considering that Moltres is a bigger threat to these two Pokemon than Lapras was. What he can do is, after my last turn of max, he can Darkness, and then KO my Primarina, which he doesn't know if I'm AV or not. But if I'm AV, then I win, but if I'm not, then I lose. After the max Darkness anyway. So he's probably just going to protect here because it's my last turn of Trick Room. But I know I have no choice since I have no other option to either recover or set up with these two Pokemon, so I just have to hit him. I knew that's what he was going to do. Problem is, there's nothing I can do to stop it. So at this point in the game, I'm thinking to myself, okay, how do I win this game? I have to win this game if he Airstreams into Primarina and misplays, and I get a huge Ice Beam off on this Moltres. That's pretty much how I win this game, by him misplaying. So as long as he Darknesses into Drampa and then Airstreams into my Primarina the next turn, he wins. So I am praying I see Airstream into Primarina right here. Considering he's Life Orb, it doesn't KO. I have Special Defense Investment on Primarina to make sure it just never KOs. So I see the Darkness into Drampa, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I need a huge crit from Primarina here to even have a shot. I need like a mega crit here. Problem is, I don't get it. If I got the crit there, I think I win, after Hail at least, and Life Orb, so I'm not really sure what the deal is here. I know that if I have to go for the Moonblast here, hoping I live, but I'm at -1, and I don't think I do. I think he does minimum 95 to me. So he doesn't get a low roll, and he takes out my Primarina. So, I think in hindsight, what I could have done is I could have targeted down the Moltres when I knew the Flygon was switching out. I think that was a decent option. I don't really know. Okay, so I was afraid of the Lapras endgame again, but I tunnel visioned and I didn't realize that I beat the Lapras if he maxes under Trick Room. So what I totally should have done there is if I Hailstorm that Moltres slot, I win that game every time. Considering that I beat Togedemaru, yeah, I beat Togedemaru Lapras under Trick Room every day of the week. So, you know, a pretty unfortunate game. I think that, you know, I don't necessarily think it was a misplay because I was reading it and I was trying to get rid of whatever was coming in. I was afraid of the Lapras, like I said before, but I don't know. I don't really know what I was thinking. I thought I played decent though. I thought that the Drampa set caught him off guard a little bit. I thought it was really solid. I thought I set it up great. But his team is just crazy. I give all the credit to him. He played pretty good. The flinch game 1, I honestly, I really think I would have won game 1 if I didn't get that damage on Dusclops. I think I had a great position, considering he brought Rabombi, and I knew I won under Trick Room. But you know, it is what it is. This is only week 1. I don't really want to make excuses, but I'm kind of newer to these Pokemon. I've used Primarina and Dusclops, obviously, but the other 4 I have no experience with at all. So it was fun to try them out, though. Overall, I think that this team's actually pretty decent. But if you want to talk about a sick team, let me tell you something right now. Next week, I got an insane team coming out. I'm only keeping 1 Pokemon off this squad, and it's Primarina. And I I'm revamping this entire team and making it my playstyle, or more my playstyle. So stay tuned for that. GG to Rainbow, coach of the Snowpoint Sylveons. I think he's undefeated right now. I don't even think he's dropped a game. He might have dropped one or two. But he had another 2-0 this week. He's been on a rampage, so GG to him. And I will see you guys in the next video. Stay tuned for more GLDL content. It's been Archery. Peace out, guys.